Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Hello, it is election season, and that means I am hard at work campaigning and trying to get the issue of Scientology's horrific treatment of humans here in the UK onto the political agenda. And I'm here to give you a little bit of an update on how that's been going. But first, hello, Mark the Dorset SP. How are you doing? Thank you for jumping in. Hi, Alex. Hope you're well, buddy. Thank you. Mark, for those of you who don't know, is one of the amazing protesters that joined us at the IES event back in November, and again showed his face. Were you in? I think you were in London, weren't you? If I remember rightly, for the March 13th event. But yes, Mark the Dorset SP has been a great supporter, and thank you so much for that. And Daniel Chamberlain's in the house. How's it going? Learning about life. Howdy from Austin, Texas. Hot and humid time of the year. Very jealous. The weather is good in London, but not that good. So thank you. I did just gift 5 memberships. So hello and welcome, Mark the Dorset SP, Salty Caramel Whiskey, Moon Age Daydream, JMac, and new name. Welcome to being members on the channel. If you want to support the channel, buy me a coffee is the best way of doing it. I'm going to talk about that a little bit in a little while. Buymeacoffee.com/apostatealex is a link down below. But before we get to that, I want to share something with you. The general election is coming up on the 4th of July, which means we are at a crucial time here in the UK where we have an opportunity to get politicians discussing Scientology in a way that we don't normally have. Once politicians are already elected, they're under much less pressure to win over the support of local constituents. And so now is the time that they are listening. Candidates who are standing in different areas are listening to local concerns and wanting to win votes and wanting to win over the electorate. So they are going to be making statements. They're going to be discussing issues that may not normally be on the agenda. So now is the time where we have an opportunity to get them talking about Scientology. So what I have called for in previous videos is you write to all of the candidates standing in your area. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're going to vote Labour, Conservative, Lib Dem, Green, whatever. The issue of Scientology is apolitical. It's something that's going to need cross-party support. And up until today, the only standing candidate in the election who has pledged public support for a debate on Scientology is John Sweeney, who's standing as the MP in Sutton Coldfield, who is a very famous BBC Panorama journalist who's taken on Scientology before. He pledged previously publicly that he would support a debate on the issue of Scientology if he is successful. Now, today, that all changed because one of the things that I've been doing is contacting all of the candidates standing in constituencies in which there are Scientology buildings, whether that's London, where there's the test centre and the main org on 146 Queen Victoria Street. They are actually in 2 different constituencies. Birmingham, Manchester, Plymouth. I've also been contacting all of the MPs or the prospective MPs who are standing in areas where there are ideal org buildings waiting to be renovated. For example, Manchester, where there's the main org in one constituency, and then there's this empty building that sat there for 16, 17 years, crumbling to pieces and awaiting renovation, that will one day be the home of the new ideal org in Manchester. I've contacted all of the candidates standing in all of those constituencies, explaining why it's important Scientology is taken seriously and why there needs to be a debate in Parliament and why it affects them as candidates standing in those constituencies. So with the help of one of you guys, one of my lovely viewers and supporters has been helping out behind the scenes with a lot of this preparation and admin work. We've put together a spreadsheet, which the link is in the description. I'm going to share it with you now. This is just to show you the sort of work that I've been doing behind the scenes, because you only see just the tip of the iceberg on YouTube. This is publicly available for all of you guys to see, and I encourage you to go ahead and look at it. This is a list of all of the orgs, whether it's the org or, for example, Walsh Manor, which is the birthing for Sea Org members where they live. It's got the org or the building, it's got the address, the constituency, the current member of parliament. We can see here Keir Starmer, who is very likely going to be the next prime minister, the leader of the Labour Party, and then the current candidate standing in that area and their contact details. Now, this is not doxing anybody. These email addresses are all publicly available. Many candidates who are standing in the election want to be contacted by the electorate. So these email addresses are all the ones that are available on their public websites. You can see there are some missing that we couldn't find. And so we've done Conservative, Labour, Lib Dem. Those are the three main parties. And in some constituencies, the Greens. Obviously, there are lots of other parties too. But I've gone ahead and contacted all of these people, all of the candidates in those areas, and asked what they're going to do if they are successful with regards to the issue of Scientology, considering there's a Scientology building in their constituency. Now, to my surprise, I received a response today from another candidate who has issued the following statement. This is from Gareth Streeter, who is the Conservative candidate for Plymouth, Sutton and Devonport, which is the location of the Plymouth the Plymouth org and its ideal org that will soon open, apparently. And I explained my situation, how I was treated in Scientology, and I said, what are you going to do about it? And he said, "Hi, Alexander, this sounds horrific. I am so sorry." In fact, let me just share this with you and you can read it with me. Here we go. "Hi, Alexander. This sounds horrific. I'm so sorry. I must be honest, this is a topic I know very little about, even though I've studied religion in some depth. If I am elected, would you be happy to meet with me and a member of my team to discuss further? I would certainly be open to supporting, I think it was meant to say debate there, in Parliament." So Gareth Streeter has now joined the list, which is currently 2 people long, of candidates standing in the election who would be willing to support a debate on the topic of Scientology. Now, I must stress, this is not a case of who's going to win in that constituency or who's going to win the election. This is a case of getting as many people as possible discussing the issue, because if you're standing in an area and a politician doesn't want to speak about it, but all of their opponents in that constituency all issue statements in support of a debate about Scientology in Parliament, that puts political pressure on the other candidate to also form an opinion or a stance on the issue. That's how this campaign works. The more candidates who are standing, regardless of their chances of winning, that are going to take a stand on this, the more who are talking about it, the better, because that puts pressure on those who are more likely to win. And ultimately, all we need is a couple of MPs in the next government who are willing to take a stand for this to then be tabled as a debate. So massive respect to Gareth Streeter, the Conservative candidate in Plymouth, for agreeing to support a debate on Scientology. And not only that, is he saying, would you be happy to meet and discuss further? Which, of course, I said, yes, 100%. This is what I've been trying to do in East Grinstead with the town council for months. I got shot down by East Grinstead Town Council, and I got labelled a vexatious bully and told to stop talking about this on social media. And I've been calling for months and months for the opportunity to sit with town councillors and explain to them why this is an issue and why it's important that it's taken seriously. Now, unlike East Grinstead Town Council, Gareth Streeter here has actually said yes, and he offered to meet with me. It's not something that I tabled. He said, would you like to meet to discuss this further? Which I think is really, really positive. And the fact that that is now one person from each of the major parties who has taken part in this debate, I think shows the cross-party support for this issue. Abuse in Scientology is not political. Diane Abbott, who is standing as a Labour MP, she very may well have a position in the cabinet should the Labour government be successful, should a Labour government come in the next election. Diane Abbott has already requested an investigation into Scientology's fraud and their finances here in the UK. John Sweeney, who's a Lib Dem, has already agreed to support a debate. And now we have Gareth Stutter, a Conservative candidate, who also would support a debate. So now we have one MP or prospective MP in each of the major parties pushing this idea. So what I need your help with is to help on this campaign. If you live in the UK, please write to all of the candidates standing in your constituency and just ask the question, what would you do if you were successful to help stop the abuse in Scientology in the UK? And what would you do to support the victims who have so bravely come out and shared their stories online? If you're not in the UK, you can still support, you can still email people, you can still ask the question. You don't have to be an elector, someone in the electorate. You don't have to be someone who can vote in order to ask questions of politicians. I also encourage you to write to the candidates standing in the areas where there are Scientology buildings. Now, that is why I've made this spreadsheet public, because it has all the contact details I could find of all of the people who are representing areas or want to represent areas that have Scientology buildings. Now, I've categorized it. There's obviously orgs, there are birthings, and there are upcoming ideal orgs that are standing empty. And so what I would like you to do, if you'd like to support in this mission, is to contact these candidates and say, hey, I'm a concerned citizen and I want to know what you are going to do should you be successful, considering you have a Scientology building in operation in your constituency. That is something anybody and everybody can do from home, from the comfort of their own computer. And the idea is that the more people that message these candidates, the more they become aware that this is an important issue and it's not just something that one or two people are upset about. So that's how you can help. And that's what I'm asking for your support in. Mark the Dorset SP. Sounds amazing. We'll be emailing the Bournemouth mission. COS get a free bookstall each Saturday in the council market to push Scientology. The leader of the council is standing for Parliament. There we go, Mark. Fantastic idea. Bournemouth issue covers 4 constituency areas. Yes. Well done. And thank you, Mark. That's a great idea. And please do share this with me. If you get any responses, if anyone replies with a statement like Gareth Stutter did, please email that to me and I'll share that on the channel, because what I want to do is create a list of our friends and allies in politics who are willing to help us out in getting this onto the debate. Exiled New Yorker, Brill, we need spreadsheets like this for every province, state, and nation. Trust me, it's something that I'm working on. When I say that I'm working behind the scenes full time on this, pretty much, I'm less so full time now, but historically full time has been because I've been working on stuff like this. This is what happens behind the scenes. I've got dozens of spreadsheets like this with dozens of different people, contact info, and records of conversations I've had with people. This is the activism that I've been doing behind the scenes. I'm busy working at the moment. It's the summer period, which means I'm busy at music festivals and so on, working. So I have less time to do this activism, but it is something that I have been doing nonetheless when I can. Selena's here. Hello, friends. I'm meant to be sleeping, but this sounds too good to miss. Thank you for joining, Selena. And thank you. I hope I don't keep you up too late. AO Shaw says, fantastic response. Hope you can get similar positive reactions across parties. Exactly. Oh, and Terry Ray's here. Hi, Terry. How are you? Thank you for joining. And Bear's mum. Hey, everyone. Go, Alex. Thank you. So look, this is where I'm at the limit of what I can do as an individual. And this is where we need the power of community to come in to help effect change. The election is in just 3 weeks, which means we have 3 weeks to get as many people as possible to issue some sort of statement or indicate where they stand on the issue for us to then take it to the next step. So we have 3 weeks here to do something. And look, in 3 weeks, we're not going to get a debate tabled in Parliament. Parliament doesn't exist until there's the next election. It's been dissolved. So we're not going to get a debate anytime soon. But what we do need to do is get enough support from as many people as we can to show that this is an issue that needs to be taken seriously across the board, to all of those who are standing across the country, not just the people in the constituencies where there are Scientology orgs. It's important you email all of the candidates standing in the constituency, not just the one you're voting for or not just the one who's currently in power. Please write to all of them and ask, if you're successful, what would you do? Because like I said, it's a numbers game and I need your support to help get this done. So if you do have a spare minute, please do check out the spreadsheet in the description. There's also a link to the IES protest website that I created that has information and template letter that you can use. Please adapt it to make it your own and make it personal, because I think personal messages do get a lot further than templates, but it's a starting point if you're unsure on what to write. So please check out those links. One more piece of news that I want to bring you before I wrap up, because it is starting to get a little bit late here, is buy me a coffee. I mentioned it earlier, is the best way of supporting my channel. If you do super chats, that sort of thing, YouTube take 30% of the money, but with buy me a coffee, they take a much smaller percentage, and that money goes straight towards this activism work that I'm doing. It allows me to go and meet with politicians. It allows me to write letters and send things in the post with mail costs and so on. It helps support the channel and pay for StreamYard and all the other expenses attached to creating this content and being an activist. So all of your coffee money goes towards that. And I want to be in a position where this isn't becoming a huge cost, which it already is, and it's supporting itself. So the more coffee I can get, the better. And I do really appreciate your support. But I also want to make sure I'm not excluding people who don't support through Buy Me a Coffee, because the best way of supporting is through liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all that sort of stuff. So all of the content that I put out that's just for channel members and for coffee supporters will at some point eventually become publicly viewable. There's a bunch of videos that I currently are only viewable to coffee members from my trip in the States that I will make public eventually. I just wanted to make it a little perk for supporting the channel that you get early access to that sort of stuff. But I also just want to draw your attention to the little blog I've got going on Buy Me a Coffee. You can access this without donating. It's just a publicly viewable thing. This is my coffee page. And at the top, if you see there's a tab here that says posts. If you click on that, this is kind of like my little personal blog. I mean, I have Scientologybusiness.com, which is where I investigate and report on Scientology's finances and UK operations, but it's not really a personal blog. But the Buy Me a Coffee blog is a lot more personal, and I talk about me and what I've been doing and my feelings and stuff. And all of these posts pretty much are viewable to anybody and everybody, regardless of whether you've bought me a coffee in the past. And this story here is one that I shared on my community tab earlier. I think it was earlier today or yesterday or the day before. It's all a big blur. But my worlds collided last weekend. I was working at Lambeth Country Show, which is a festival in South London, and I saw the big yellow volunteer minister tent where they were doing nerve assists and stress tests, and it was filled with Scientology staff that I recognized and used to work with. So I wrote a little post here with a picture of Anne Rusty, who is a veteran Scientologist I used to work with, and pointed out how you shouldn't, as per policy, be doing stress tests and selling Dianetics in a Scientology volunteer minister uniform in a Scientology VM tent, because it's policy to keep Dianetics and Scientology separate. So I pointed out how funny and hilarious that kind of is, that they're breaking policy here. And I just wrote in this blog post a little bit about what that experience was like and how they got told off for body routing. All of these people were handing out flyers and trying to get people to come over to their stand, and another trader complained and they were told off, and they then had to stop doing that. But I had eyes on their tent the whole day, and it was definitely the least busy trader on site. It was quite funny. Now, I was working, so I couldn't live stream or do too much in terms of kicking up a fuss, because I did have a job to do. However, I did make my presence known, and that is a blog post that I shared on Buy Me a Coffee. So even if you haven't supported the channel with coffee, you can still access all of these posts. So please do check out the Buy Me a Coffee page, even if you're not able or willing to support financially. It's all up there for free. Let's have a little look at some of these comments here. Quantum Pixel, great initiative, Alex. We'll try and do my bit from the UK. Thank you. And I encourage anybody and everybody to get involved. If it's just me, we're not going to get very far. I've done a lot of work building relationships with politicians and law enforcement and government agencies over the last year. I'm going to continue doing that. But this is a political thing, and this is something that power is in the numbers. So the more support I can get, the better. Selena, member for 12 months. Thank you so much. Folks, Alex is on war footing and he's not fucking about. There we go. Exactly. Well done. That's exactly my little saying. Absolutely. I'm just looking at all of these. Thank you so much. So guys, that's it in terms of updates from me today. I am heading off to a festival tomorrow, so you likely won't hear much from me over the next couple of days, but I will be back early next week with more. I will keep you updated with more info and news as it comes out with regard to new and other politicians that reply to me. But please let me know how you're getting on. My email address is hello@apostatealex.com. Please forward any responses that you get to me. Keep me in the loop, email me and let me know if you hear anything back from any of your candidates in your area. And please do feel free to get in touch with any ideas you have on how we can get this issue into the debate. There are a lot of much more significant issues facing the UK right now. I'm not expecting this to become front page news or for this to take precedence over the economy or healthcare or any of the other big issues that are being debated right now. But the more people we have talking about it, the better. And hopefully we can start that snowball effect where it just evolves into more and more discussion and debate. And hopefully at some point in the next parliament, we can get debate tabled. But like I said, it's help with it's only possible with your help. One other thing I just remembered is I did an interview earlier today on Sam Sudi's channel, the SP Chef. Go and check his channel out. This is it here. A chat with Alex and Scientology protests in the UK. It was really good to see Sam. This is us here. It was on his channel, the SP Chef. I'll put a link down below. But we had a talk about all of the work I've been doing behind the scenes and the work that led up to the IES protests in November, plans for the coming year, and what I was doing before we went out to the streets in East Grinstead. So it was a really good chat there. Go and check out his channel, give him some love and support, and let me know what you thought about the interview. I will probably upload it to my channel in a couple of days, but I want to make sure he gets all the views for the interview on his channel first before I put it on mine. So guys, that's it from me. Short but sweet, just like me. Thank you so much for joining, and please let me know how you get on. This is a time for change, and this is a time, an opportunity we're not going to have for another half a decade. There are only general elections every 5 years, unless some other circumstance comes up, but generally this will be the last election for the next 5 years, half a decade, which means we have an opportunity here we won't have for another 5 years. And my goal is to get to a place where we are certain there is no more abuse going on in Scientology before the next election, which is 5 years away. So hopefully we won't need to do this at the next election. So the more people that can get behind this, the better. Please email, please contact your candidates and see what they say. And hopefully we can put an end to the abuse. But as always, my name's Alex. I'm on war footing and I'm not fucking about.